All right. Okay. I think we should be live right now. All right. I'm just going to wait for more people to arrive here. We have at least one person here, so that's good at least. All right. I'll just wait a little bit longer and see if there's anything else that I really need to do at the moment. I don't think that there is. Let's see. I could do. No, I'm gonna wait to do that. But okay. All right, we're here. Everything seems good. All right. So I'm just gonna wait to see if anyone else shows up for this stream. If I had to take a guess on how long I'm probably going to be streaming, I'll probably say an hour or so, but I'll just wait a little bit longer for people to arrive. So instead of just waiting here in silence, I'm probably just going to keep this just flow of thought going through my brain, just talking. Probably won't get into actually what we're going to be talking about because to those who are here, and I'm probably going to repeat this a few times, this is me preparing for the end of My Hero Academia because most likely than not, by time I'm doing this live stream, the chapter has been out, at least unofficially from the leaked websites. So this isn't going to be me actually reacting to those chapters or that final chapter. However, I will confirm that I do know some stuff about the chapter because I was very much poorly unable to avoid those leaks in the actual chapter before Sunday, because that's most likely when I will be doing my more proper live reaction to it. It's going to most likely be on Sunday at around 10 o'clock when the actual chapters come out. I do have a live stream prepped for that. So yeah, so I just saw that no one is currently watching me right now. That's kind of sad. There were people watching me, and now there's not. That's fine. Everything's fine. I'll just wait a little bit longer for it to see. Hopefully, I know for a fact I posted that I was going to go live today. I'm a little bit sad. Also, just cars. A little bit sad that no one's here, but wait, it's fine. I'll give it another. Oh, there are some people here. Actually, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna make this a little bit more fun. I'm going to send out a text just because. All right, I'm sending out a text to some people, and I am live. So yeah, we're gonna see where that goes. But yeah, so I'm pretty much just going to be talking about just how the ending of My Hero Academia is going to end with the little knowledge that I have. And hopefully there won't be any spoilers in the chat if people start to come in. And if I do see a spoiler, that's going to be something I'm going to have to address when that moment comes. So I'm waiting for more people to come in. There's 4 people now. That's great. That's wonderful. I can't wait to see like how many more people are going to be here. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting. This is going to be interesting because My Hero Academia is in fact coming to an end, and it's going to be interesting to think about where just manga shonen in general is going to be going from here, because I guess like while I'm telling the story, I'm gonna go into just like a little bit more about like why this is going to hit a little bit different for me when it comes to other characters or other manga series. Because when it comes to My Hero is probably the series that I have been following from beginning to end. And there are a fair amount of like shonen series that I've read. I've read Attack on Titan. I'm still reading One Piece. I've read Bleach and Naruto. And I would like to compare this feeling to when like Bleach and Naruto, when they ended, versus like My Hero now, because a major difference between those shonen series and this one is that I have been reviewing My Hero Academia for almost 4 to 5 years, which is crazy to think about. And like I've also been reading it pretty much from the beginning. Like when it came to like Bleach, I got on that like train like very much when like most of like the anime was already out, when they were going through like the Bount arc, or when they were going through the Wakamundo arc when it's broken up into chunks. I remember not necessarily when those were coming out, but I watched it like around that time. That's when I got on that bandwagon. But Naruto, I was watching Naruto like when it first started airing like on Toonami on Cartoon Network, and I didn't start reading it until like a little bit after that. But with My Hero, it had just recently come out and it's been out for like a year, and like I watched the season 1 of the anime and immediately started catching up. So it's probably the only series that I have read where I have been reading it pretty much from beginning to end, from start to finish. So that's something interesting, and that's kind of like why I wanted to do this, just to think about like what it means for My Hero Academia to end, and like what it means to me before I go into like the final chapter and do like my final review for My Hero Academia. And that does not mean that I won't be doing any My Hero Academia content. If anything, this may bolster my want to make more content on the series that I enjoy so much, but it's going to be interesting to see where the series goes from here. So, yeah, this is going to be fun. I just noticed something. Huh. Okay. So, if anything, I'm going to wait to see if anyone is willing to leave anything in the chat. If you have any questions or you want to like express like how you feel about My Hero Academia, I would like to see if like any more people are going to like join in, and if not, that's fine. But yeah, just when it comes to My Hero, um, I'll probably dive more into like my bigger feelings of the series as a whole, as well as give my rating of it, if not in the review, in the other live stream. But I can say for a fact that I do, and I cannot say how much more I do love the series of My Hero Academia, in both the good and the bad. So I want to talk about that more, but like I also just want to talk about like the general experience that I've had with My Hero Academia. Once again, I'm doing all of this because I'm preparing for My Hero to end. And like I said, I have a guess on how long the final chapter is going to be based off information that I've seen, based off just being on YouTube and Twitter. I know that most likely than not, we're going to get a time jump for My Hero Academia, but it's not going to be as big of a time skip as I thought. And I'm kind of disappointed a little bit. And that's the thing. I don't want to say that I'm going to like be disappointed in how the series like ends. Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. There's still some people here. Hello. Free. How do you pronounce that? Okay, you got. I see. I got. There's some people in the chat. But yeah. Before I lose my train of thought, and I think I've lost it. That's fine. Uh yeah, I was talking about what I know about the series like ending. I know it's probably going to be like around a few pages like longer than normal, which is kind of disappointing, especially in comparison to like how other manga series have ended with their final chapters being like around like 30 to 40 like pages. So that's a little disappointing if that is true. I also know that it's going to involve like the kids like I don't want to spoil anything for people who have or have not read it, but it does involve the kids and like a major milestone with them. And I'm glad that we're most likely getting that in this chapter, but I'm actually kind of like worried about like what that could mean for the story as it is now and how I will feel about it. So I do know a few of the leaks. I don't know everything. I don't know exactly what's happened. I've seen some characters like post like time skip quote unquote looks, but besides that, I don't really know a lot. So that's just me. I'm just a little bit saddened by the fact that I got spoiled on that. But like I didn't take like proper precautions. I didn't completely get rid of Twitter. I didn't like specifically like see like a YouTube like talking about the leaks, and I didn't stop myself from clicking on it because I thought it was going to be fine, and it wasn't. So that's on me. But I think that for the most part, I don't think it's going to really like affect my reaction for the final chapter. And if anything, like, hey, that also prepared me for what the chapter is going to be. So I didn't have these certain expectations going into the final chapter. It's given me the reflection to like not go into the chapter with any type of expectations. I think that's the best way to like approach any type of medium. Try not to go in with any expectations and try to go into a series based off like you see something and you like it. That should be like the baseline for you to jump into a series. If you see something that you like and you want to see more of it, jump into the series. Don't try to have like place your own expectations on what you think the series is going to be or how great or bad it's going to be. Just jump in and just enjoy it. And that's what I've been doing for the most part when it comes to My Hero Academia. So I see that people are now in the chat. So I just want everybody to just share their experience with My Hero Academia, and like we can just talk about it a little bit more, because I see JJOP07017P says, I hopped on back in 2018. I have been following for 6 years. It wasn't perfect, but the positives outweigh the negatives for me. It was a good ride. I completely agree with that. Like I said, I've been like almost like My Hero Academia. This is crazy. My Hero Academia has been in publication for 10 years. And I've been like reading and watching it for like 9 to like 8 of those years. So even like jumping in in 2018, that's amazing. Like that's still fairly early within like the series. That's probably around like, because if I remember correctly, I jumped in around the time we had like not even like where the villains like attacked the students during the summer camp. I jumped in like around chapter like 100 when I was fully caught up. So that would have been around like 2016. Yes, it actually would have been around 2016, and I remember that because 2016 was the year that I traveled to Japan. And that's when I binged, read, and watched the entirety of, I think, season 1 and season 2. I don't know if season 2 was out at the time. I know season 1 was at the time, and then I read the entire series and most likely binged the anime. So yeah, that is a long time. And also, hello, Godzilla the Killer. It's good to see you. I don't think that you were here in the last stream, but I'm glad that you're here now. Michael Jimenez says, hello, man. How are you doing? I'm doing well. It looks like My Hero Academia has ended. Yes, it has. What are you going to review or react to now? For once One Piece is like finally over, I'm going to quit anime for good. No, you shouldn't quit anime for good once like One Piece is ended. And, oof. Oh, gosh. There's a car driving past me, but it's fine. What am I going to do about My Hero after My Hero? I could do reviews for One Piece, but One Piece is very much a saturated medium. On the other hand, I could do a review of a up-and-coming series called Kagurabachi. I feel as if that's probably that's probably going to be the next big thing. And if I were to do any type of like review or reaction to a series, most likely it would be Kagurabachi. Just as like my overall thoughts so far, it's a little bit confusing. It's hard for me to follow personally, but overall, I'm really enjoying the series. The action is great. The characterization and the characters are great. It's going to be like the next big thing, most likely than not. So if I were to like review or react to any other series, it will probably be Kagurabachi. I wanted to try to do more One Piece content to see if I can break into that, but maybe not. I may make a few videos for One Piece, but most likely if I were to continue doing that, Kagurabachi. But I'll try to make more like My Hero Academia content, more content about the series as a whole and on the characters, instead of just doing weekly like chapter reviews. Also, I'll still be covering the anime when that comes out, so I'll still be doing reviews of the anime. So there's still going to be My Hero Academia reviews, just not necessarily of the manga, but most definitely when it comes to the anime. And then it will give us a better perspective of where the anime is going to be going, because the manga is over. But yes, that's what I would be doing, Michael. And you also asked, like, you should now grade each arc of Hero Academia now. Yeah, that's probably going to be like the next thing I'm going to do. it's probably you know what, I will probably do that. I know that I've seen people who have been doing it. Totally Not Mark is currently doing it like season by season. So if anything, that's probably not something that I will do immediately. I'll let it just stew in my mind a little bit longer and either make like an act, like doing it based off each act, or basing it off of like each season. But I'll probably do that a little bit later. But that could be something that I would like to do. And I see Bolt Animation says like at least we still have the anime after the manga ends. Yes, we will have the anime after the manga ends. And also Bolt Animation says you watch the anime more than you read the manga. So I'm going to be really sad when the anime ends. Yeah, because that's also going to be something else. There are people who are like anime onlys, and like they're most likely going to learn that My Hero Academia is going to come to an end. So when they're like watching season 7, either it's going to be ending in season 7, which I highly doubt. And if it doesn't end in season 7, most likely what's going to happen is you're going to have season 7, and then you're either going to have a movie or a very truncated season 8. So the anime is going to come to an end very soon. So that's going to be very sad. And then at that point, My Hero Academia is probably going to just not like disappear, but like the anime is going to end. They're obviously going to still be the spin-off series that's still going to be existing. Hopefully the My Hero Academia Vigilantes anime, maybe that'll come into vogue. They are supposed to have like a My Hero Academia themed announcement next week, which makes sense because a lot of stuff is technically happening next week. We have like the final chapter releasing officially Monday in Japan, Sunday, and then we have, if not today, yes, today or yesterday if you're in Japan, the actual manga chapter for volume 41 has been released, which means that most likely volume 42 will be released towards the end of this year. And I want to make a video on that volume. There's some interesting stuff in there, not necessarily with the volume extras, but some changes to like certain chapters I want to talk about. So that's good. There's also like the movie that's going to be coming out, My Hero Academia, like Your Next. That movie literally comes out next week, as well as potentially Deku versus Tomoe Shigaraki, like Fight in Full Throttle, will also be coming out next week. So My Hero is going to have a very, very big week next week. So that's something that I'm looking forward to as well. And going on to the next one for Godzilla the Killer, they're saying, thank you for all of your videos on My Hero Academia. You're the first person I watched when leaks come out from My Hero Academia, and I appreciate your dedication to the series and your love for it. Thank you for everything. Oh my gosh, thank you for that. Yeah, I liked covering the leaks, and you know I was kind of like a little bit anxious and like fractious. I'm like, oh my gosh, the leaks are coming out right now. I could be like talking about those leaks, but I'm like, I think I want this final experience for My Hero Academia to be a little bit more personable, not have to think about like, oh my gosh, I'm missing out on like the views or whatever when it comes to that, like talking about the leaks, because like My Hero Academia is going to end, and I want this to be a little bit more like personal for me. So that's why I didn't want to cover the leaks. Also because like I just traditionally, when it comes to like the final like chapter of a series, I try not to look at the leaks. So, and that's probably going to be going on with like another series when One Piece eventually ends. Most likely than not, I probably won't be looking at the leaks at all, and I will watch and read the chapter on Sunday officially, like everybody else. So that's just something that I've been doing for a while. So that's why I'm doing it with My Hero Academia. But yeah, I'm so happy that I was able to like provide some happiness to you, and that you just were dedicated to like looking at the leaks. And unfortunately, that's probably not going to be something that I'm going to be doing with My Hero Academia. But maybe I can do it for other series. But we'll see what happens afterwards. And Bold Animations, I think I read that again. Yeah. I read that one, and then I read. Okay, and then Godzilla also commented, "It's so weird reading My Hero Academia and legit growing up with it, and now it's ending. I'm literally the same age of the characters. Oh my gosh, you are a baby. Oh no. Oh my gosh, that's actually that's crazy. It's crazy to think that there are people who have been reading the series and are potentially the same age as the characters. I can never relate to that ever again, especially in shonen. I am too old to relate to teenagers. Okay, to clarify, I think shonen, it doesn't matter what age you are, you can still relate to these characters. They have characteristics that like you can latch on to. Like Deku is probably my favorite male character in the series, and that's because he very much is me at that age. But even now, a lot of stuff that the kids are going through, a lot of like the characterizations, their struggles, like they're still very much relatable. You can still like relate to them even no matter how old you are. But yeah, it's kind of weird to think about the fact that like when you're watching a series and as you're growing up with these characters, you are you eventually become the age of these characters, and because it's shonen, it's aimed at like a younger audience. Yeah, that's actually something I will say that I never really got to experience with like One Piece, like not One Piece, but like yeah, even with One Piece, like that's not something I was able to experience with like Naruto or Bleach, because those series ended way after like I was like past like the ages of the character. So that's actually something interesting. And then we have Julian Pierre's like, what about Dragon Ball? I don't know what you're asking about that. If you want to know my opinions on Dragon Ball, I like Dragon Ball. I think it's just the like pinnacle, not pinnacle, but like it's probably the most influential series when it comes to like manga and shonen as a whole. I've watched Dragon. Here's something interesting. Fun fact about me: I watched Dragon Ball before I watched Dragon Ball Z. And depending on your age bracket, that is something that either shocks you or is not that surprising or completely surprising, actually, because something else that is cool about Dragon Ball, especially when it comes to the West, is that a lot of people learned about Dragon Ball not through the manga, not through the OG Dragon Ball anime, but through Dragon Ball Z. And that's fun because I actually learned about it through Dragon Ball, through like the proper channels when it was on Toonami and they were airing Dragon Ball before Z. And I remember more about Dragon Ball and when that happens than about like Dragon Ball like Z. So like I knew pretty much a lot of the arcs before that, and it took me even a while to go through Dragon Ball Z, and I never really officially went through Dragon Ball Z until I watched Dragon Ball Z or Kai, Dragon Ball Z Kai, which is where I officially went through the entirety of Dragon Ball Z, except when it comes to the Buu saga, which, to be fair, I knew more about the Buu saga and watched through all of the Buu saga before I watched through Frieza and Cell in its completion. So, and I see Julian is commenting again, is like, why not cover Dragon Ball Super? It's a good manga ever since Akira Toriyama passed away. And I would cover Dragon Ball Super. However, I do know that Dragon Ball Super is, from my understanding, on an indefinite hiatus. We do not necessarily know when Dragon Ball Super is going to come back. And Dragon Ball Super is very much like a monthly series and is also like a niche. So I could potentially do it, but I don't think I have that much interest in Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Super to actually cover it. I'm not even caught up with Dragon Ball Super. I just remember reading it during the moral arc, chapter to chapter, and that was a fun read. If anything, what I'm more anticipating the death battle between Bardock and Omni-Man than I am about Dragon Ball Super, which is a little bit sad, but that's just how I feel. I'm most likely than not, I probably won't be covering Dragon Ball Super unless like we know for a fact that it's coming back and that it's going to be staying for the long run. But most likely than not, I probably won't be doing that. Unfortunately, sorry, Julian. But going on to the next one, both animations. I might start watching Pokemon anime, but there's so many episodes and movies. The Pokemon. Here's the thing. Yes, there are a lot of episodes. I do not recommend. I do not recommend jumping into the OG Pokemon series because there are a lot of episodes. I think that you can watch the movies and that is fine. I think that would be great. If I were to recommend you jumping into any type of Pokemon, I would say go into Horizons. It's a new one. It starts from scratch and it's not as long. There's like approximately like 50 episodes in it. And I think that is really good. It's more traditional anime than like Pokemon was when it was out. So if you're going to jump into it, Yes, you can watch the movies, and there's still a lot of movies, but those are like a lot like easier to like actually like consume. Probably my favorite one is the one that has like Inte in it. I don't know why that's my favorite. It's either the one with Inte in it or it's the one with Lucario as like the main character. It's those are probably my two favorite. But if you're going to do it, I would say go into Horizons and then maybe you can watch the movies and then if you are a masochist, you can watch all of the episodes of Pokemon. But I would always suggest that if you're going to do that much commitment, just read and watch One Piece. Just do that instead. Just watch the entirety of One Piece. Actually, you don't even have to do that because they're coming out with a new anime. So you know what? Just don't do that. Just don't. Don't torture yourself like that. There's a lot of filler. Don't do it. But yes. And then we have Emilio. Man, I'm starting to imagine how season 8 of My Hero Academia is going to go now. When we get the manga like finale. Yes, it's going to go crazy because here's the thing, this season is going to have like technically 24, 25 episodes if you include like the first like four like sort of like a recap like episodes that are like talking about like My Hero Academia up until that point. Those are apparently a part of season 7, even though not really, but like technically they are, but not really. So when it comes to My Hero, it will most likely have season 7 technically have 21 episodes. And from what we've seen with the opening itself, we're most likely going to be getting the All for One versus All Might fight. So if we are getting a season 8, it's going to be a very truncated like season 8. It may be as long as season 1, so it may be like 13 episodes long, but like we still have a fair amount to cover. And heck, we say 13 episodes, they may go past like 13 episodes. Like from if the series ends the way that I think it's ending based off like what I've seen, in theory, they could go past it. They could continue My Hero Academia the same way as Boruto. They shouldn't. I don't think that they should, but they can. I wouldn't agree to it, but they can. They shouldn't, but they could. But yeah, that's always a possibility. Like with the finale, like the anime is going to eventually come into an end. And going on the more Pokemon stuff, Arion Renta says, I gave up Pokemon after Ash left. Aww. Well, you gave up at like the best time, but also like you gave up at the worst time. Like I'm gonna be honest, I've like even though I haven't caught up with Horizons, I think that from what I've read and what I've seen, it's good. And I say read because I watched the subs, not because I confused it with reading manga. No, I would never do that. But I think that you can pick it back up. I still think that it is good, and I think that you still could like keep up with it. But that's just my opinion. You can do whatever you want, and if you just didn't like it anymore after Ash left, that's fine. Yep. And then we have J Op 017P saying that Pokemon takes him back. He used to love it as a kid, and that he's been wondering if the 7th season could cover the rest of the anime or if they're going to need an 8th season to finish it. Like I said, with what we got right now, I think it would be nearly impossible to cover everything in the 7th season unless they add more episodes to season 7. If they don't add more episodes to season 7, then most likely than not, it will not be ending in season 7, and we're either going to be getting a season 8 or we may be getting a Demon Slayer-esque like idea where the final like part of the actual manga is going to be animated in a movie format. Either way, I think I would be fine with both of those specific like decisions, but that's just me. I cannot say for 100% certainty, but I think both situations would be fine. Either we get a season 8 or we get like another movie afterwards, because My Hero Academia, for the most part, we get a movie every year or every other year. So it would just add on to like something that we've already been getting. So that's going to be fun. Also, Amelia also said, I started to imagine if we have My Hero Academia adventure video games. Like, I'm thinking something similar to One Piece adventure games, not Pirate Warriors for the record. Okay. Okay. I mean, there have been My Hero Academia video games. From my understanding, they have not been great. And I think you could make a good My Hero game. I think it would be one of those situations where it's gonna be it can't be like One Piece. I think it would fit more if it was more like Spider-Man. Like if you had like Deku acting as a hero and he's like jumping around the city. Yeah, I think it would probably be better if you like made the story be a lot more like Spider-Man 2, where you just have Deku like either before he loses his quirk, where he could have Black Whip, like, or like setting it in a specific part of the story. Like, I don't think it's impossible to do the entire story as a game, like with Naruto, how they pretty much did like the entirety of Naruto, like within the game. I think it's possible, but I would say it would be a little bit more difficult for My Hero in comparison to series like One Piece, Naruto, and eventually when Bleach, when that game, I don't know if it's been released yet, but I think it's going to be. And when it gets released, that's going to be amazing. But I think it's a little bit more difficult for My Hero Academia to get it in like a good gaming like format. Oof. Been talking for a little while. I need to get me a little bit of Kool-Aid. Oh my gosh, that's a lot better. But yeah. And going on to RN, I'm still playing the games, but I only get excited the anime when Ash enters the tournament. Okay, you know what? Fair enough. If you're still like playing the games, that's fine. That's cool. That's amazing. All I can say is this. If you find something interesting and you enjoy it, pursue it. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks. It doesn't matter what anyone else wants. If it's something that you like to do, continue doing it as long as it's not hurting yourself and it's not hurting others. It's your decisions. You should do whatever you want. But yeah, so I'm trying to think of like what else I wanted to say to like prepare myself for the ending of My Hero. I need to prepare myself to cry because I know for a fact when I read that final chapter, I am going to bawl my eyes out. I am going to cry. I am going to cry like I'm a baby. I'm going to cry like I stole something and I am looking my mom, looking my dad dead in the eyes as they have a switch over my head. I am going to cry that badly and I know it. So I need to like emotionally prepare myself for the ending of this series, how it's going to affect me, and what I'm going to do next because this is a big thing. This is honestly a big deal. Rarely do we have like a manga like My Hero Academia that makes as big of a splash as it did and then just continue to like build upon it. And like relatively speaking, like from what we're understanding, like My Hero Academia just didn't get like canceled. That's something else that we have to take into account, that this is like the ending of My Hero Academia, that Horikoshi for the most part what he wanted. Ooh, sorry about that. And that it wasn't canceled, that he's going out on his own terms, and that this is the choice that he makes. And it's not like, oh yeah, it's not like with Demon Slayer, from what we understand, is that, oh yeah, they just wanted to like end it immediately, so it felt rushed. For me personally, the series, as of now, it doesn't feel rushed. It feels a lot more fast-paced, but I don't think that it's rushed. I think that if we're talking about pacing, My Hero Academia, and this is something I can talk more about in like an overall review of My Hero Academia, but when it comes to My Hero Academia, its pacing has always been like not necessarily inconsistent, but it's always been weirdly paced by the fact that everything that the students do happens within a year, but like also a lot of different time jumps in between, but also just not getting to see like the smaller details, but then also getting too much into the details and stuff just moving extremely fast and moving extremely slow, focusing on things that may need less focus, not focusing on stuff that probably needs more focus. There's a lot. And I'm not saying that Horikoshi is like a perfect writer, but there are issues with the series that aren't necessarily associated with it being rushed. If this is how Hori wanted to end the series, we have to accept that this is how he wanted to end the series, and that he wasn't like forcing himself or rushing to this conclusion, but that this is the conclusion that he thought that he needed to do, and he was able to do within like this right amount of time. So that's just on me. That's just how I view it, and that's just my thoughts on that. And going on with more what Ariana is saying, don't forget we still have a movie. Yes, the movie, at least in Japanese or in Japan, is coming out next week. And this is where the difficulty of like My Hero and anime stuff coming out in movie theaters, it's difficult because it'll come out immediately in Japan, because Japan is always going to be the main audience and the main moneymaker when it comes to anime like shonen. That's just how it is. Until like, it's not like with video games from Japan where like globally it is like juggernaut. So they come out like at the same time everywhere around the world. Even when it comes to One Piece, the most popular like anime movie in the world, even Dragon Ball, one of the most popular and most renowned series, when they had movies, we still didn't get them until like months later, if not years later. And even with My Hero, the movie for us is coming out in like October, which is still like relatively shorter comparable to like other like movies and other anime movies that have come out, but that's still a fair amount of time. And like all of the information about the movie is going to be out on the internet, and like you either like have to avoid them at all cost, or you may have to bite the bullet and yo ho ho, take a bite of gum gum and go out to the high seas, if you know what I mean. So, and that's always going to be difficult. And for me personally, I can't say whether or not that I will or I won't cover it, but like obviously I would like to see it in theaters. I would like to have that experience, and when I do have the experience, hopefully make a video on it. But if I can find it somewhere else that is more convenient, I can't say that I won't try and pursue that. So yeah, the movie is going to officially come out in theaters next week. And hello, Retro, I see you there. Hi, it has been a while, hasn't it? So yeah. Oh my gosh. So many noises. So many noises. All right, I'm just gonna do that. And yeah, I'm gonna go over a few more questions. Would you cover My Hero Academia Vigilantes as an anime? Thank you, Titanium. If that anime comes out, I will definitely cover it, because I love, love, love My Hero Academia Vigilantes. I love it as much as I love My Hero Academia proper. It also has issues, especially when it comes to how All Might is depicted in his like what he can and can't do, as well as Koichi's like special moves. But overall, I love that series. And if the actual anime comes out, I will try to cover it for as long as I possibly can. I will cover it to the day that it ends, or the day that I get sick of it, which will never happen because I love Vigilantes. So if the anime comes out and if the anime is ever approved, then I will like cover the anime. Once again, hello Retro. I'm glad that you're here for the live stream. I'm going to see how long I can keep this going, because my throat is a little bit dry. I've been talking for a while, just nonstop, because that's just what I do. So I'm going to just give me one moment. If you're wondering what I'm drinking right now, it's Kool-Aid, but specifically grape and black cherry, I think, or Blake and cherry lime. Grape and cherry lime. It's one of those two. I like grape and cherry. They're like my two like favorite Kool-Aid flavors. But yeah, going with Emilio. Speaking of the movie, remember from your last stream, I said My Hero Academia should have a last movie, but suddenly I'm starting to have like second thoughts about it now. We saw the finale. See, yeah, like I said, I haven't read the actual final chapter, but from what I understanding, like I don't know the exact details. So just let anyone who has come in know. I have not read the final chapter yet. I'm going to wait until it officially comes out. So I have no idea what actually happens within the chapter. So keep any spoilers out of the chat. please and thank you. That would be great. But from what I understand, I think the last movie will most likely not happen, or maybe it could happen, but it would have to be like even further into the future. As far as I know, there isn't going to be a sequel series, but maybe they could do a sequel series. That could always be a possibility, because it's like the world, from my understanding, isn't perfect, but they could still like have like a villain, but like a more grounded villain or something like that. I mean, heck, the entirety of the Your Next movie is like, oh, there's a villain that like just popped up out of nowhere, and now the kids have to fight him. You can always do something like that. That's not an impossibility, but I don't know, maybe. And I see Arian Rinta. They say that I watch anime movies on my computer, and I want at least one anime movie in the theater. Okay, well, here's the thing: the My Hero Academia movie is going to be in the theaters. I promise you. We know that for a fact. For the most part, I don't know if the first movie was ever in theaters, but I believe the second movie, the third movie, and this fourth movie are going to be in theaters in America. You just have to make sure that it's in a movie theater close by. The issue is that if you're in a more rural area, most likely than not, it will not come to that closest movie theater. So you would have to go to a bigger city. Luckily enough, I do live in a big city, and at least one or two of those movie theaters near me will be able to show the movie. So that's something great. So if anything, even if I do watch it early, quote unquote, most likely I will watch it in movie theaters, and most likely they'll have it either dubbed or subbed. And most likely, if I do watch it prior, I will probably watch it in subbed. And then when it officially comes out, I will definitely be watching it in dubbed. And Retro is saying, it's good to see you. I'm looking good. Yes, I saw the ending. It makes me more realistic than giving everyone that happily ever after. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. I want to know more about that realistic ending that you're talking about. Okay, that piques my interest a little bit. Don't go any more into it. I want to see a little bit more about what that could entail, but that's interesting. And then we have JJ Pop 017 saying, it probably won't happen, but if the anime showed us one off-screen fight in the final arc, which one would you want to see? Okay. See, here's the thing. We have to think about what fights were done off screen. And the issue is there aren't that many fights in the final war that were done off screen. A lot of them that we see on screen. So if I were to limit it to like one off screen fight, here's the thing. Here's the thing. There are at least like two proper off screen fights. All for One versus like what happened after he destroyed Dark Shadow. That is one, as well as what happened in the stadium. And between those two, I think I want to see like exactly how they took down like the baby guy with all of the babies like in the stadium with like Sarah and Sato. I would like to see how they took down that guy. So that's probably going to be my answer to like the off-screen like question. What happened to like that guy and how they defeated him. But besides that, I don't think there are that many off-screen fights in the final arc. So that's going to be very interesting if we're going to be getting more scenes of that. And we have Dark saying, "What's up? Deku Smash both Bodaraka and Gay Fandom." See, I don't know if that's a spoiler or not. You can infer from the last chapter that they are probably together, but I don't know. I haven't been on Twitter, so I have no idea what the fandom is talking about. But I don't know if that's a spoiler. I'm gonna keep watch for your questions, Retro. But the ending was so good, in my opinion. It's unfortunately we didn't. Okay, that's definitely a spoiler, Retro. Retro, why would you tell me that? Now I know that we're not going to be seeing Deku's dad in the final chapter. I'm joking. I never expected. Like, so many people were focused on like, oh, when are we going to see Deku's dad? When are we going to see Deku's dad? I was like, yo, if we see Deku's dad, that would be shocking because like they are pulling like the reverse like anime. Well, not even reverse anime. This is like a trope in anime. Like in like slice of life where it's like you see like one parent, you see the mother or you see the father, because either the mother is dead or the dad is gone. Usually, in typically, it's that the mother is dead and it's like the kid is raised with a father figure. But like, yeah, no, I knew for a while that we were never going to get like his dad ever. So and like I was never really interested in his dad. I never really thought like, oh my gosh, we need to see Deku's dad, because we already had like Deku's like paternal figure, father figure through All Might. So there was no need to actually see his dad. And if anything, Horikoshi shot himself in the foot by like confirming that Deku even has a dad. If he had said that his dad was dead the entire series, nothing about that would have changed. The only thing is that Inko would have been a like only mom, which to be fair, that would have made it even more tragic for Deku and like his situation. If Inko was like his mom, his only paternal figure, that would have been even sadder for Deku. But besides that, nothing really changes. So, all right, I'm going to see. Okay, I see what you're doing, Dark. Actually, Deku's dad is a famous swordsman who can't find the route to Deku's mom house. I get it. That was a sort of that was so stupid, but I laughed at it. So you win, And then you also said Society of My Hero Academia has so fallen down that children who are literally studying and completing their hero work are better than pros. Okay, here's the thing about that. That's something else that we need to talk about. It's not that society has fallen down, but it's kind of like the opposite. Because when you really think about in our society, it's supposed to be a good thing that the youth are better than like the elderly, because it means that we are progressing forward as a society, that the youth are taking on the responsibilities of creating a better society. Now, what is messed up about the hero society is the strong focus on having like these explosive or like fantastic quirks, instead of like trying to like better the students as a whole, just focusing more on like the stronger quirks or the more powerful quirks, instead of like focusing on like what heroics means, where it's not about being the strongest or the most popular, but lending a helping hand when necessary. So I wouldn't say like even then, like we already knew that these kids were going to be better than like the average pro hero by the fact that they were able to take out a bunch of villains at the start of the series and leave without barely a scratch. So if that's an issue that you have with the series, that is like a core, like major start of the series thing that has always been the case, especially with the idea that they're saying like, oh yeah, these quirks are getting stronger as the generations go by. And like the further we go in the generations, the stronger the quirks are. That's why Dobby's fire is more powerful than Endeavor's. That's why One for All has been growing more and more over the generations. That's why Bakugo is just so powerful, and why the students like Uraraka and Ida are like either so fast or have quirk awakenings that can literally topple literal mountains. That's just how the series has like established. And I see Titanium Craniums like Aoyama versus Kunita. We technically do not get that fight off screen. Like, we don't see the entirety of the fight, but it's definitely not off screen. We do see at least the final blow that Aoyama lays on Kunita, as well as like spoilers, Hagakure coming in to help. So I wouldn't technically call that off screen, but if that's a fight that you want to see more of, cool. That's actually something that I'd like to see more of. And we've seen in this season, we've gotten like expansions on certain fight scenes and them being like altered a little bit to just add a little bit more flair to them. So I think that that could happen as well. And then going for Ariana, didn't the chapter already come out? I've seen the official translations in TikTok. No. Ariane Renta, you have not seen the official translations at all. Those are fan translations from either like TBR scans or some other scanlation. Official translations always come out on Sunday. If you see any translations prior to the Sunday release, those translations are not official. They are the most recent translations, but they are in fact not official translations. Just keep that in mind. And going on Killen Pullen, the League's fate hurts me. Just seeing their story and emotions makes me like and feel sorry for them, and seeing fan art for Shigaraki, Toga, Dabi, Spinner twice, and Spinner acting like family. Yeah, yeah, their fates do hurt. And many people are like, oh yeah, this is like a sad ending, but like, why are they trying to be more hopeful? Like a bittersweet ending. And that's kind of like what happens with the villains for the most part. Their endings are bittersweet. We have a Dobby who finally begins to reconnect with his family, but it's at the cost of him like dying and literally burning himself to death. Toga finally gets saved by Uraraka and finds someone that accepts her, and then ends up dying in a way that is relative to like who she is as a character, but also in a heroic way that no one else actually sees besides Uraraka. Tomura, which may be the more contentious issue, but like he dies, but he also dies like a changed person in a way to a certain extent. And that to an extent, Deku did try and help and lend a helping hand, but that just due to situations out of his control, he just couldn't properly be saved. So for a lot of the villains, like it hurts because it's supposed to be bittersweet. Their death is the bitter part, but the sweet is that they didn't just come out as complete and utter monsters for the most part. So yeah, and Bolt Animation saying I wasn't really interested in Deku's dad. Yeah, neither was I. Ariana or Arian Renta, Deku's dad would have brought back universal supply of milk. Oh, universal supply of milk. Oh, that's so great. Oh my gosh. And we have Dark's like, am I the only one who wants to listen to the day anime OP? No, you're probably not the only one, but okay, if I haven't said it before, I'll say it now. My best OP is Peace Sign. It's the first opening of season 2, I believe, for the Cultural Festival. Not Cultural Festival, but Sports Festival. I don't know why. I just like that song so much. When I think of like a song that plays in my mind for My Hero Academia, it is, in fact, Peace Sign. I love it so much. Best OP. If you've seen the opening to a few of my older videos, I do have like a slide that was helped to be created by Retro. I believe, yes. That was pretty much like just slideshows for everything. So I liked it. I don't use it as frequently, but I want to use it most likely in the final review. But it has like a rendition of Peace Sign, and I just really, really like that opening, and I really, really like the song, which is why like I made it for the opening. And I see that like a lot of people are still listening to like The Day, which it's still like a solid opening when it comes to My Hero Academia. I still enjoy it a lot. It's not necessarily my favorite, but I hopefully there, if anything, if we're talking about like favorite like just songs in the series, You Say Run, I think it's like you can't, like every time I hear You Say Run, and I cannot wait to it being played during the fight between Tomura and Deku, because we already know, oh my gosh, and I cannot wait for You Say Run to be played where all of the heroes help Deku to punch Tomura all for one. Oh, that's gonna be such a banger. I'm just gonna be just pure and utter ecstasy when that happens, because it's going to happen. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we have to wait for. We have Bolt Animations also saying like they can't wait to see chapter 423 like in the anime. Yeah, I can't wait either. We also have Dark commenting about keep watching, it's good, as well as once again, okay, I apologize. This is what happens when you live off a very major street. There are always going to be cars coming in like every so often, so that's good. As we have someone, as we have Titanium saying that Dark, I restarted the anime yesterday. So, oh, okay, that's also something else that I haven't done in a while. I haven't like rewatched like My Hero Academia, and that's typically because it's not that I don't like rewatching anime, but like also because I have like just a steel trap for certain like anime that I watch and remember it. I remember like pretty much everything that happens. I don't have a need to go back and like watch it, but I probably should go back and re-watch the entirety of My Hero Academia before like season 7 is over, because I'm currently watching season 7. obviously, when I'm reviewing it. So I may go back and watch the entirety of My Hero Academia when this actual anime ends, just get a better understanding of like how the series was like created and whatnot. And I have Jesse. Oh, Jesse, this is the first time I've seen you here. So you know what? Welcome, Jesse. I'm glad that you're here. And they're asking about what happened to Lady Nagin. And okay, let's talk about Lady Nagin. I think what happened with Lady Nagin was actually very interesting because she did help in the helping of the heroes defeat the villains. She was a villain that turned hero. But what's very interesting about it is that she decided to stay in jail. And that's interesting because it shows that even though Deku was able to save her to a certain extent, that she still has like issues. She didn't just immediately like stop having those issues, stop having trust issues. She was able to trust Deku and Hawks, but that she's still very much like reluctant to like trust like society as a whole right now. So the fact that she stayed in jail was a very interesting. I enjoyed the decision that Horikoshi made to keep him or to keep her in jail to stay in line with the character, as well as just showing that yeah, not a lot of people like survive on the heroes, well, on the villain side, and a lot of the heroes survive, but there's still like some consequences, and that there still are some things that these people still have to like take care of. Society didn't just heal overnight, that it's still going to take time for them to heal, and just having Lady Nagin remain in jail is just her way of like repentance as well as like her way of healing. So Lady Nagin is still currently in jail, most likely just eating food that is being like paid through taxes. But yes, she is still in jail. And then we have Ariane saying, I love the second opening of season 6 and both of the season 7 openings. Here's the thing. When it comes to the songs themselves, peace sign. When it comes to openings, yeah, season 6 and season 7 probably had some of the best openings just aesthetically. And once again, I really want to go over the openings for season 7. And I still might actually do that. I have like a pseudo script already like played out with all the references in the actual opening itself. But copyright could be an issue. But I'm going to see if I can make that video. But yes, as we have Dart commenting, bro, where's Deku's dad? Is like we're looking at Horikoshi is like he's overseas, he's overseas. He's just looking at his son from afar. He's making sure that his son is well educated. He's providing him all of the money that he needs. He is making sure that Inko is like well fed. He's being a good dad. He's being a good dad. He's just not there for Deku, but that's fine. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And then going to the next one, Killing Pullen. Can you imagine getting superpowers from My Hero Academia and then becoming the greatest hero, then you lose your powers and work at McDonald's like Deku meme? Okay, see, here's the thing. Just because he lost his quirk doesn't mean that he can't be a hero. That's something that we have to like figure out. We have to realize. Just because he lost his quirk, most likely, I don't know what happens in the final chapter, but let's just assume he lost his quirk. That doesn't mean that he cannot be a hero. Like, he could still very much be a hero by the fact that, like, we saw All Might become a hero using a suit. And while even if Deku doesn't necessarily use a suit, like, we see that everything that he used could kind of be, like, replaced with, like, some type of sport item. And we know that he still most likely has, like, the physical strength augmentations of One For All on his body. So he may not be, like, the top hero. He may not be the strongest hero, but he can still be a great hero, because just being the greatest does not necessarily mean you are the best. It just means that you are great. You are the greatest. You are the highest up. And the series even establishes that you can have multiple greats. Like, there are multiple GOATs in basketball. Now, some of them are obviously better than others. I'm not going to open up that can of worms between Michael Jordan and LeBron James, but, they're both GOATs. One of them is superior. But I'm not gonna poke the bear with that. But the idea is that you could have multiple greats, and that greatness isn't defined by your power, but it's defined by like your character and like how you really establish yourself as being a hero. And being the greatest hero means being the hero that is willing to more often than not lend a helping hand, help people that don't like act as if they need help, and just intervening in situations where you think that you may not necessarily belong. That's what makes you the greatest hero, and that Deku can still very much be the greatest hero without necessarily having to quirk. So, I never really liked those memes. So, yeah, I don't think that Deku was ever going to be working at McDonald's. But yeah, he turned Inko into a beardless cash cow. Okay. Okay. All right. I see. And I see you, Dark. I see that you're just leaning into the memes. The story of how I became the greatest employee at my McDonald's and KFC as a sequel would be goaded. Oh my gosh. All right. That's I don't know how I feel about that. I don't I never really liked the meme, and I just don't really know how I feel about that. But yeah, okay. There's a lot been going on this stream. All right. Okay, I'm gonna let it build up a little bit more. Okay. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. All right. I'm gonna let the chat accumulate a bit more because I'm just reading these and I'm like, y'all are horrible. Y'all are just that's just me. Oh my gosh. Oh no. That's okay. All right. I'm reading the chat right now and I'm very disappointed in all of you. I'm disappointed that these jokes aren't funny. I'm not bursting out laughing at these jokes. I'm chuckling. Y'all need to get better with your like just talking about this. You need to do better. These are funny. These are funny. Like the devil is a part timer. Yeah, yeah. You think bro can make some good pizza? Yeah. I see. Yeah, no, no. I'm not gonna stoop to y'all level. I'm not gonna say that Deku is probably going to be king of the burgers at Burger King instead of being the greatest hero. He's going to be the greatest chef. He's gonna be greater than SpongeBob when it comes to flipping burgers. Oh, why did I say that? Oh, that's bad. But yeah. Oh gosh, I need. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, that was actually a good one. Lucky customers get free Coke and a sign from the greatest hero Deku. Gosh, that's one for all 50% off sale. Okay. All right. All right. That was actually fun. I really like that. Those were good. Thank you, Dark. Thank you, Titanium Cranium. Thank you for those wonderful comments. Those wonderful jokes. They were very funny. But something else that I want to go over. JJ Pop 017P. Any thoughts on Ida, Deku, Ochaka's friendship? I loved it for the first half, but it felt like the dynamic fell into the background as the series went on. Yes and no. Like the dynamic of those three, they stopped being together frequently. However, their friendship never went away. You still had Deku talking with Uraraka on the hill. That was still existence. You had the conversation that they had when they were going out to like rescue Deku during Vigilante Dark Deku arc. We had that. Even during the war, we saw that they were still like next to Deku. They were on the same team. They wanted to like help him in those situations. Even during like we still had even Uraraka and Deku like working together, even when they were in class 1A versus class 1B. Now, we didn't necessarily have them all together, and I cannot argue that there was like a strong focus from Deku, Uraraka, and Ida to Shoto, Bakugo, and Deku when it comes to the power side, but I wouldn't say that they necessarily fell into the background. They were very much more in the foreground than they were in the background. It's just that a lot of things were just happening. We had to focus on Deku getting stronger, and the series was coming to an end. So like we couldn't really get a whole lot of that like friendship dynamic, but we still got them being friends to the very end. Once again, I have no idea if it's happening in the last chapter, but I think that there's still going to be a strong focus on them in that last chapter from what I'm understanding. But yeah, I understand the situation. I don't think it's as bad as it being in the background, but I can see the point there. And then we have Ariane Renta saying, if you could have any power, what would you want? I would choose between New Order, Fierce Wings, and Warp Gate. Okay, that's an interesting idea. If I could have any power of my choice, like of My Hero Academia, that's interesting. I mean, like obviously, like the obvious answer is like, oh, overhaul, because I can touch something, recreate it, and make it in an instant. That's an easy choice. If not overhaul, I'm trying to think. I don't think that there's any like work that I just need absolutely. Coda's quirk would actually Coda, is it Kota or Coda? Coda, I believe, animal voice. I've always had a fascination with like being able to speak with animals because I think that that's something that is like, and being able to control them, because that means that, oh, if I go into like a field with animals, like I would be like the best in that field. So if I could like have that in the real world, I think that would be fantastic. That would be just the practicality of that would be great. Actually, Momo's quirk creation, that is a quirk that I would want because it would be just imagine it. Like obviously, you see this. I'm a big guy. I got a lot of love handles on me. I got a lot of fat. I got a lot of adipose on me. Just imagine if I had her quirk and like it worked like how it should in the real world. First of all, if there's something that I want, first I would obviously have to learn it, and that's difficult. But if it's like something simple, like a knife, I could literally like make a knife with my fat, get a knife, and then I would get skinnier. And then like do that a few more times, and like I don't have to worry about diabetes, high blood. Well, I probably still have to worry about high blood pressure, but like I could get like instantly skinny, like, or, and then I don't have to worry about like losing, like I don't have to worry about like gaining a whole bunch of weight because I could gain a little bit more weight and then just use my quirk for something that I may or may not need, and then boom, it's gone. So I'm gonna have to go with creation because I'm thinking smarter, not harder. But yeah, if obviously if not overhaul, animal voice, and creation or creation, I believe it's what it's called. That's probably the one that I like the most, and it's from my favorite character. So you know what? It's a win-win for both of us. So yeah. But yeah, Fierce Wings, that's also a good choice. Warp Gate is also a good choice, but like you would have to know the coordinates, and like obviously we don't know if there's like a distance, like we don't know if like, oh yeah, he can like go from like one side of the world to the other. We don't know if there's like a specific like, as we don't know if there's like a limit to it. So it would be like cool for like shorter, like if I wanted to go from here to like my job, I could do that. But then you also have to take, but here's the thing, you also have to take into account that you literally become a shadow figure. You literally become like a shadow monster because Warp Gate isn't Shirokumo's ability. It's a combination of Shirokumo and like the Black Cloud. So it literally transformed him into Kurogiri. So you would have to live yourself. You would have to live your life as a Black Shadow if you want Warp Gate. I'm deciding it now. But yeah. Also, I see. Oh no, another one from Dark. Son, what happened to your hero costume? Mom, I sold those. Now I'm a part-timer in McDonald's. I'm getting paid well while many hero dreams are long gone. Yeah, my hero dreams, once again. And gosh, we're not gonna get over this. But yeah, Phil Steamer. Weird ending, but announcement of a secret project of My Hero Academia. Okay. Is Gran Torino still in the hospital from Dark? Most likely. Yes, there is a secret project. We don't know what the secret project is. It could be like a sequel series. It could be something else. It could be My Hero Academia Vigilantes. We just don't know. But Demi, My Hero Next Generations. I think with that, I think that was bad. That was bad, Sanium. That was a very bad joke. I think with that joke, I think I want to end the stream now. So yes, thank you everyone for coming to the stream. I'm glad that we was able to like have this conversation. I think I may be prepared enough for the ending of My Hero Academia. I see Balto Animations believing that Gran Torino was dead. No, he was not. No, Titanium, don't be sorry. We've been streaming for about an hour, and my voice has becoming like a little bit hoarse, dry. I was going to end it like around the hour mark anyway, so it's fine. I was joking. You didn't cause me to end the stream. I was going to end the stream around this time. But yeah, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you everybody for just leaving comments in the live chat and all that. And hopefully I'll be able to catch all of you guys in my next stream on Sunday when it comes to my streaming and my live reaction to the final chapter of My Hero Academia. Hopefully I will catch you guys there. See you guys next time. Bye.